Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for being here. My name's Miriam Meadow with Oakland Public Library, and I'm glad that you've joined us today. We have Katie Clancy and Celeste Huang from America Works, and they will be talking about the employment services offered by their organization. They'll get started with their presentation momentarily. I'm going to drop a couple of resource links in the chat that are from Oakland Public Library. Hopefully you'll follow us on Oakland Has Jobs. That's our Instagram account, and we have some other resources to share. So take a look at that in your own time, and I will pass it to America Works.
Amazing. Thanks, Miriam. We really appreciate it. Super happy to be here. I was also going to tell everyone to follow at Oakland Has Jobs. So my name's Katie Clancy. I'm the director of the America Works office here in Northern California. Our office is in San Francisco, but we work with people throughout the Bay Area in our different programs. And Celeste is going to talk about her program, and she can work with people anywhere. So we are going to introduce America Works as a general company, give you a little bit of background history on the company, and then we'll talk more specifically about what we do here in California. And then we'll talk even more specifically about our Bay Area programs. One is a veterans program and one is a Social Security benefits program. And then we'll answer any questions about America Works specifically. And then we will switch into more general workforce tips. So if you felt like you didn't fall into one of our two populations when you registered, however you got to our session here, we have some great getting interview ready, getting resume ready tips, and we'll just take we'll answer as many questions as we can about getting into the workforce. So here we go. Let's see how I'm doing. All right, so America Works, this is the longest mission statement in the history of mission statements. What I will tell you is that America Works has been in operation for about 40 years throughout the country. They started in New York, and they have always worked with different marginalized and vulnerable populations who just benefit from a little bit of a door pushed open kind of experience. So helping people get job ready and find meaningful work. And we have offices throughout the country, I think in about 13 states. So this is their origin story. So 1984, was founded by Peter Cove. He and his partner and wife, Dr. Lee Bose. She has since taken over as the CEO. So it is a 100% women-owned corporation. And they worked together in the 90s, or as I like to call them, the 1900s. I was existing. They worked with the Clinton administration on America Works as a concept. So out of that time frame came the America Works Company, came the Peace Corps, the AmeriCorps. So all of those workforce programs to help people kind of find their way in the workforce in a variety of different ways all came from this time period. Nationally, we have the two programs that we're operating here in San Francisco, the Ticket to Work program, and there are reps, again, all over the country for the Ticket to Work program, and then at certain offices, we can do in-person supports, like our office here. So 17 years, I don't know if that's still true, is it? How old is that slide? Might be 19 years now, but it's a Social Security Administration funded program. So for those of you who have been in the sort of nonprofit workforce, we have national grant funding from Social Security Administration for the Ticket to Work program and from the Department of Labor for our veterans program. The veterans program has been around since 2011. We have placed well over those 3,000 veterans. One of the things that's shifted about the language around the veterans program is that when they started it, it was called the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. The language, the program, the people that we get to support, that's shifted to people who are housing insecure, which frankly, all of us are in the Bay Area. So I'll talk a little bit more about what that means for eligibility for the program. And then the other big program that we offer is a one-stop operator. So you might know it as America Job Center. There are different versions of them throughout the country. The ones that America Works operates there's one in Orange County, which has 2 offices. There's one in Burlington County, New Jersey, and one in Washington, D.C. So a one-stop or an America Job Center is a literal one-stop where EDD is, where Veteran Services can be, where Department of Health and Human Services. So like all of the sort of social services that the state offers will often have the Department of Rehabilitation. Like we'll have a staff person who's in that office. So it's sort of one stop for all kinds of social services. In terms of how America works, this is all of our programs. We do it in this way. So it's work readiness, helping clients with both hard and soft skills. So what are the technical things you need about your resume development? And what are the softer skills about your presentation when you're doing interviews? What are you, how you look, how you show up, your organization and time management. So different ways to help you set yourself up for success, coaching you through those. We also offer training and education. So that looks different throughout the country depending on the population's needs. And, we attempt to be sort of all things to all people. We aren't, but we want to connect you to as many resources as we can. That's, OPL is another great place. So we always want to say, oh, I know, that you're looking for this housing or you're looking for this training program. So, training and education, and some of our programs have some funding for these things, so there's different opportunities to help get you there. And then employment, so that's obviously the biggest thing. That's what brings most of us here, is really part of what I do in our office is I work with the employers to help them think of us and our clients as a place for them to get great candidates. So I do a lot of work out in the community. When we go to job fairs, I will leave our table and go meet all of the employers and give out my business card, like, shuffling a deck, and try to really develop relationships so that I can say, hey, I have this amazing client who is looking for this type of work, and you are hiring one of those positions. I would love to have their resume in front of you. Try and cut out the bots, right? And then our case management, like Celeste and our case manager for the veterans program, they do a little bit more of the helping you get through what are those barriers to you feeling really confident when you are applying for jobs? What are the barriers to getting through that piece? So that's some of the supportive services too. Helping you transition with Celeste's program. She will stay with you for as long as it takes to make you get to your self-sustaining income levels. With our veterans program, we sort of do all of the pre-work and get you launched, and then we check in after you have a job. So different kinds of support services. But as far as we're concerned, as long as we're here, you're here. So whatever you need, that's how we all operate in our office. So in San Francisco, we have the 2 programs. We have a whopping 4 staff. Our Fresno office, we have 9 programs and 18 staff. And in Orange County, then they operate the 2 one-stops, but they also have an HVRP office, and they have about 12 staff altogether. Yeah, any questions so far? You can drop things in the chat, I think. You can come off mute. There's not too many of us, so we're going to have lots of time to chat. So let me tell you a little bit more specifically about our veterans program. I can click. Cool. So again, the veterans program, we have a couple of program requirements. One, you need to have your DD 214. You don't need to have it on you, but it needs to exist. And if you don't have a copy of it, we can get a copy. And the program accepts anyone other than dishonorable discharge. And you need to have a minimum of 1 day of active duty. So if you have only ever been in the National Guard, unfortunately, according to the Department of Labor, you do not qualify for the program. And then, as I mentioned too, some housing instability. So it means that you are not self-supporting and on a lease. So you could be in supported housing, you could be couch surfing, you could be, um, you know, under the radar tenant in someone's apartment. You could be in your car. So it just means, or you could be on your lease but unemployed and therefore at risk of losing your home, so losing your housing. So that also qualifies. And as I said, like frankly, in the Bay Area, if we're all a couple of paychecks away from not being in our houses. So, we're pretty flexible as long as we can really say this person really wants to work with us. Um, the supports that we provide for the veterans program, small financial supports, the job readiness skills, supportive job search, ongoing case management, additional resources. So for a lot of our veterans, security guard work is a really good fit for their experience. And we will help them get their guard card or renew their guard card. We'll schedule them for the training, we'll pay for it. We have people who are interested in peer support specialists, who are interested in home health care, phlebotomy, janitorial services, very little interest in food service. But we have resources and we have connections to different kinds of training programs. And so we just really do a deep dive into where you've been, where you are, and where you'd like to go. So that's what we're always trying to look out for and helping you get to where you'd like to go. I always talk about, again, because I do the employer education side, I talk about what skills veterans come with and how transferable those skills are. Punctuality, attention to detail, calm under pressure, technical military operation skills like analytical brains, ability to really follow directions, to be a high functioning part of a team, to make sure that there's really people are really checked in with and tuned in. So like that can be all kinds of different jobs. So helping people really say, these are the things that I know I'm good at, or these are the things that I know I love, and moving that out. So Celeste and I have this wealth of knowledge about how to help, this thing and pulling this thing off lots of branches on our trees. And then I also talk about where veterans thrive. So environments that really prioritize mental health, clear and direct instructions, collaboration and teamwork, as I mentioned, clear chains of command, consistent schedules. It's great when people say, I'm a veteran and I run this business, or I really love hiring veterans because I know their strong work ethic. And then behavioral and situational interviews, because that place, and that's a lot of what we'll talk about today, is going to be around those questions in an interview, is like, how do you take your work experience and apply it to the thing that you're interviewing for? So that's my veterans piece. Does anyone have any other questions? Well, Robert, you're the only person I can see on my screen, so I appreciate your facial expressions and you're speaking the voice for the people. So I'm going to turn it over to Celeste to talk a little bit more about Ticket to Work.
Thank you, Katie. So my name is Celeste. I am the Ticket to Work representative here in our San Francisco office. If you are eligible for the Ticket to Work program, I would be your direct case manager and we would be working together. So I just want to start by talking about some of the trainings that America Works offers for our clients. These are all completely free. They're short-term, virtual, and sometimes in-person credentialing for professional development, such as the Microsoft skills. We have OSHA support group for healthcare and construction. We do financial literacy courses, customer service, food handler certification. We have a bunch of different courses in employment skills. For example, some of the ones that we're offering this month are utilizing AI in the workforce. And We also have resume writing and interview workshops. So all of these courses are free and again, available for all of our clients to enroll in. We also have multi-series courses. The one that we had last month was Gateway to Call Center Jobs. We also regularly have GED study groups if you are pursuing a high school equivalent. And we also have ESL support groups as well. Next slide, please. So what is the Ticket to Work program? So Ticket to Work has supported hundreds of thousands of individuals with finding jobs. It is a free and voluntary federal assistance program. It's meant to help anybody that receives SSI or SSDI specifically enter or re-enter the workforce. So America Works is an authorized employment network, which means that we can facilitate the program on behalf of Social Security. So we offer free career development services for beneficiaries between the ages of 18 and 64. So we do free case management, and it includes career counseling, resume building, interview preparation, job application support. We help you find job opportunities. We try to match you to those jobs. We do ongoing employment support even after you've already been hired. We have certified benefits counselors to help you navigate exactly what happens to your benefits as you start working. And this full cycle case management creates a guided pathway towards your financial independence. So it's really important to know that the goal of the program is for you to find full-time, self-supporting employment. So we want you to be able to find sustainable employment that will eventually have you graduate off of using your benefits. You're replacing your benefits with your own earned income. There are certain benefits protections, and they're called work incentives, and that ensures that it's a gradual transition. It's a safety net for your benefits, so it's not like you're getting the rug ripped out from underneath you. It alleviates some of that fear of starting to work again, and it allows you to explore work options while maintaining certain levels of financial and medical supports. And the three main conditions of eligibility for the program are that you have to be an SSI or SSDI beneficiary in current pay. So you need to be currently receiving cash benefits. You need to be between the ages of 18 and 64. And you need to be ready, willing, and able to work full time. So if you feel like your health isn't exactly at a place where it needs to be, but you do want to start working, you do want to make sure that you're able to work full time, because there are pretty aggressive earnings goals that we want you to meet as you move through the program. And again, it's really important to know that employment isn't meant to supplement your SSI or SSDI in this program specifically. Again, it's meant for you to gradually replace them with your own earned income as you move through the program. And next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we would provide comprehensive supports and services to help you prepare for your job search. And we basically do the job search right alongside with you. Part of this goal is to address any barriers to employment, like Katie mentioned, and connect you with the resources that you need to make sure that you're fully equipped to re-enter the workforce, especially if you have been on disability for a long time, you haven't worked in a long time. Some of my clients have never worked before, so we make sure you get the right trainings, the right information, the resources, anything that we can do to help level that playing field for you once you're entering the workforce after some time away. We help you plan your education. We help you find the training, certifications. We want to make sure that you're reaching your earnings goals as well. We want you to be able to maintain employment. So not just find employment, but maintain it too, so that it can be sustainable for you, in order for you to gradually reduce your dependence on Social Security payments. To track your progress, we do require that you report your wages and your milestones, like getting a job. If you get a raise, you would need to report those milestones to us so that we can help track your progress. And you always want to make sure that you're also in communication with Social Security so that you never have to pay back any debts or get stuck with any overpayments to Social Security. And that's where that benefits counseling comes in as well, because We just want to make sure that you can make informed decisions about your benefits as you start earning more. And the first step of the program would be to collaborate together to create an individual work plan. This would outline your short-term and your long-term goals, and we would discuss how you would plan to achieve them. We'd talk about the supports and services that America Works can provide, and we'd walk you through that process all the way until the end, until you graduate the program. And like Katie said, you could be on my caseload for years, until we find you that sustainable employment that will eventually let you come off of Social Security and find your own financial independence. Thank you.
Are there any questions either in the chat or out loud for Celeste? I know that Ticket to Work has
Yeah, I
lots
have
of
a
things.
question. Okay, I wanted to know, how can I be in the program? How can I request the program?
Yeah, great question. So I can type in my contact information in the chat. Again,
Yes,
I
please.
would be your direct case manager. We would meet at least once a month over the phone if you wanted to come into the office. I have some clients who prefer just texting and emailing, but I can reach back out to you right after this, and I'll also put my information in the chat. You could reach directly out to me.
Okay, yes, please. Thank you.
And there is a question in the chat asking if Ticket to Work can provide affordable childcare support connections or resources.
Not directly. That kind of goes back into resource coordination. That's something that we would research together. The same way that I would do the job search with you, I would connect to our employer partners, our resource partners, and we would look into that to see what we can do for you, but we don't have the funding to provide those direct supports, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Daisy, do you want to come off mute and ask your question?
Yes, thank you. It's interesting, actually. I think we're part of the EN, I guess. And my understanding for your introduction, you guys work as a EN, but also a VR, since you can do social security stuff. Is that correct?
So ENs, or employment networks, and VRs, state vocational rehabilitation agencies like DOR, we can both facilitate the Ticket to Work program. It's just that VRs like DOR, they're going to be just the one state agency, versus employment networks. There can be multiple, and because there's multiple, you want to speak to all of them, see where you could get the best fitted supports and services for your needs.
I see. Sorry, I guess it's not one question. There's so many questions because I just came from a DOR webinar learning about Ticket to Work. And from your introduction, it's been around for 17 years. And one of our clients, sorry, I'm part of the, I guess, EN agency. And this is very new to us. I'm still trying to learn like the differences of what an EN already do and what a VR already do. So, but it sounds like you as an American Work actually have the whole package instead of meeting with different people. Is that correct?
To be honest, through my experience, VRs have a lot more funding to do a lot of the more intensive upfront supports for finding you employment or helping you pay for certain things like a community college class. But because each state only has the one state VR, from my experience, I've noticed that there's a lot more wait times.
Yeah.
Because, there's only so many case managers. But for employment networks like America Works, it might be a lot more individualized, a lot more one-on-one. I don't know if that answers your question, but that is what I have seen in my experience from seeing clients go between employment networks and DOR.
I see. So can you kind of elaborate a little bit of what is the big benefit of ticket to work, because from the workshop what I'm learning is that, oh, connect with your VR or EN, but you can also talk to the service provider, like for resume, interview, and trying to make a best match training. So I'm just kind of wrap my mind of why suddenly there's a ticket to work and why it would be a good addition to on top of this too.
So, ENs and VRs are both service providers for the Ticket to Work program. So it's ultimately up to you what service provider you choose. But they both facilitate the Ticket to Work program. And the benefit of the Ticket to Work program, again, it is a voluntary program. So it's specifically for anybody that wants to re-enter the workforce, go back to work, and get that independence from Social Security benefits. So for some people that are on SSI or SSDI, they would prefer to work just part-time and maintain their benefits, which is perfectly okay. It's just that this program specifically is for if you want the free employment services and the case management and the resume support, all of those things. That is what you're getting out of this. You get that free employment services in addition to your job search. So again, I do that job search right alongside with you, and I'm your job person. That's the main benefit of the Ticket to Work program.
So you're kind of working as a part of the Ticket to Ride service provider or case manager.
Yeah.
But inside American Work.
Correct. So as America Works is an EN, my formal title is the Ticket to Work representative, and I am the case manager for all of my clients. I walk them through all of the work incentives available to them. I do benefits counseling, so I help them track their earnings. I'm writing resumes all day. I'm preparing my clients for interviews. So those are all of the services that I can help with.
I see, because we as a EN, well, we're from Helping Hand East Bay. I don't know what you heard about it. And then we don't have this particular program, but we're trying to reach out to East Bay Innovation, Tom, to get more insight. But I guess today I kind of hear a little bit more of full picture of what is it. I think that's something we as an EN do not really have that full system on helping them to be independently financially, because a lot of them so afraid they're not ready, or or they don't want to lose the benefit. They just want to work part-time in the sense, and it's kind of good to know the work incentive in between too, to make sure you're okay. So yeah, I would like to have more, connection, if there's anything can or to get or something I can learn from you. That would be
Absolutely.
great.
And I'd be happy to, I'll still put my information in the chat, and then I'd be happy to follow up with you, and maybe we could schedule a one-on-one and we could really talk more about the details about that.
Okay, thank you so
And we
much.
do have our contact at the end of the slide presentation too. So Daisy, just to make sure that you understand, so the top of the chain is Social Security Administration. They run the Ticket to Work program. They created the Ticket to Work program. And then they hire or partner or contract with ENs, employment networks, and VRs. So the vocational rehab, which in California is Department of Rehabilitation. So both Department of Rehabilitation and America Works are presenting Ticket to Work programs on behalf of Social Security, who funds the programs. And the goal is ultimately it's cheaper for Social Security to stop paying benefits, and better for people to be out in the workforce because you'll make much more money.
Thank you. I'm still kind of new for this field for 2 years, so thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's a really good question, and certainly Celeste and I, when we started, both had exactly those questions. What does it all mean?
And just for any of us who don't know, can you clarify what VA and EN stand for?
Oh, sorry, yes, Employment Network, and a VR, it's vocational rehab.
Okay, thank you. There's a few questions in the chat, if you could take a look and respond to those. The first starting with Alex asking what length of time is considered graduated from the Ticket to Work program? 3 to 6 months, 1 year?
So graduation really depends on one, whether you receive SSI or SSDI, because let's say for SSI, Social Security uses a formula which is 50 cents from every dollar that you earn is deducted from your benefits. So in order to graduate from the program, you would need to have an earnings level that's high enough where you eventually no longer have your benefits and continue earning at that amount. So that for some people, they fall up and down between that level. But typically graduation from that program, there's really no distinct timeline. It's just whenever you are able to continue to have stable earnings at that level, which allows you to have your own earned income versus the SSI payments. For SSDI, it's a little bit different because there is a work incentive that allows you to have 9 months where you can test your ability to work and earn any amount without any changes in your benefits. The months following that, there's a 36-month period where Social Security makes a determination on whether or not you get your benefits based on how much you make. For 2026, that amount is $1,690, so $1,690. And then if you're in that phase, then that's when Social Security will say, okay, if they made more than the $1,600, then they will not get their benefits. If they make less than, then they will. And then after those 36 months are up, then they will decide whether the next time you make more than $1,600, you will stop getting your benefits. So it's complicated. There's no like distinctive timeline for it. It really just depends on your benefits, your work activity, your earnings levels. And again, it is very tedious, very meticulous, sorry, and complicated. But again, that's what we're here for. That's part of the benefits counseling that I'd be able to provide.
Great. Celeste, are you able to see the chat and pull up any of the questions there?
Yes.
Can
you,
you
Alex.
type your contact information by any chance, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And I can read out the question because we're capturing a recording of this too. If a person's medical condition or disability only allows for part-time work for the long run, would a person be eligible for Ticket to Work?
No, unfortunately. So the Ticket to Work program basically is an agreement from Social Security that says, as long as you are making progress towards your career goals to reach financial independence, here are the free career services to find employment. Of course, there's a bunch of other employment resources available outside of Ticket to Work for any beneficiaries that want to find part-time employment, like American Job Centers. It's just that for this program specifically, it is for anybody that wants to earn at a level that will allow them to become independent from Social Security cash benefits.
Okay, thank you. And there's a note in the chat about a hierarchy chart or a visual responsibility map of Ticket to Work could be helpful for those who benefit from visual explanations. I think that brings us to the end of the questions and comments in the chat. Does anybody else have something they'd like to know while we have access to Katie and Celeste? You can drop it in the chat or you can come off mute.
Hi, everybody. I just didn't want to be rude. I haven't shown my face the whole time, but I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Jenny. I'm a college coordinator in West Oakland. I work for a nonprofit called Next Step Learning Center. But as you know, people who walk in the door often need a lot more than help with academics. So I just sat in today so that I could do a better job of referring students to your services. And I feel the presentation was very clear. So that's why I stayed quiet.
Always a relief. Thank you,
Thank you, Jenny.
Yes.
And I'm happy to, like I said, we'll provide our content contact information at the end, and you're welcome to reach out to me. And I was also a college advisor briefly, so I was a lady student, so talking about early college, and that is a strong part of how I do my work. And yeah, happy to talk shop about that endlessly.
Thank you.
So if there are no other specific questions, what we'd like to do is take a little bit more time and just, Celeste and I were at there was a job fair in Oakland last week, and one of the resources that we provided was just a little bit about the job search. So the whole world is helping people find jobs right now. Most of my career, I'm a social worker by education. Most of my career has been with younger adults doing college and career readiness. One of my kids, when I worked in Chicago, said, "Oh, you help us get grown." I was like, that is what I do. And now I just help everybody get grown because we can all use that help. So we have some kind of job seeking pro tips, and then we have some interview questions that will help kind of talk through, and I'm happy to answer questions. So my do's and don'ts: keep your resume up to date. It helps you notice the wins that you've had in your career in the past, and it allows you to sort of pump yourself up before your interview. So I really like reviewing my own resume. As I age, so does my work history. So it's like, oh, look, I did that thing 7 years ago, but I can still draw on those skills. A living resume is sort of cumbersome to keep, but it's helpful to do exactly what I just talked about, drawing from your previous experience and helping you kind of rely on things that you've done, that you've achieved, and capturing it in one place so that you can then take that as a master copy and take chunks out for your resumes as you need them. So, keeping that one on your desktop, your Google Drive, somewhere like that. And then it's also a place that helps you really build out your LinkedIn profile, because that can be as long as it wants to be. I also always recommend, and again, feels cumbersome, but having multiple resumes. So if you are pursuing work in education, but you've also worked in retail, or you've also been a security guard, that's 3 different resumes. So even if they are smaller, they are targeted, and the person who is going to be looking at you for employment will be like, oh, look at this huge, robust, wonderful work history in this field. It makes the most sense. Then when you're in person, or if you're on your phone screening, you can say, I've also done this in retail. I've also done this in education. You can pull all of those threads, but what they look at in paper, they really spent 3 to 7 seconds looking at your resume. It is a wild thing, and a lot of those resumes are looked at by AI now. So the other thing is making sure that you are using an ATS template for your resume. So that is an applicant tracking system. That is where the robots look at your resume before a human does. And so using that template, if you don't have one, you'll have our contact information. I can email it to you really quickly. And you just have to plug in your details to match that. Again, it is a full-time job to look for a full-time job, and we really, really honor and recognize that. I was what I call underemployed on the job market for 18 months before I landed here, and my partner was 10 months on the job market, so it is very challenging, and we are very empathetic to how difficult this is. So that's why having a Katie or a Celeste in your life is really beneficial. The don'ts. Don't get discouraged by the ghosting. Again, the robots are the ones that look at your resume first, and if your resume isn't locked in for their keywords, nobody will ever see it. It sucks, just does. Don't use the Easy Apply tool on LinkedIn. No humans look at it. Recruiters use it as a data mine, but nobody looks at it. Even though it feels satisfying, I've done it myself. Like, oh, I applied for 10 things because I used that Easy Apply button. No one looks at it. Don't lie on your resume, please. Just be truthful about where you're at and what you have, and we will help you talk through gaps. We will help you talk through whatever blip you have on what is going on. As Celeste mentioned, she has clients that have never worked. So that is still not a blank piece of paper. Like, we can still build something from having no work experience because you have lived, and we promise living is work experience. The other thing is that once you do get into the pipeline as a candidate, they are going to run a background check. So they're going to find out if you have if you were formerly incarcerated or if you have charges against you. They're going to find out if you didn't go to a certain college or if you didn't work at a certain place. So just be real and bring your full self to the truth of that. And again, work with us to help sort that out. And don't disqualify yourself. Like, if you see a role that fills you with joy and sounds like something amazing, apply for it. Figure out how to craft your cover letter to say, I want to do this work. I have this amount of experience that really speaks to that. And I have this but I really, really, really would love a chance to meet with you. So don't disqualify yourself before. I know it's daunting. And then do your best to not lose patience. It is a lot. It's a lot. And I have so much empathy. We talk about, I mentioned already, like, it's a full-time job to find a full-time job, but don't do it full-time. Give yourself space to relax. Give yourself space to rest. Rest your eyes on a blank wall. Go outside and breathe fresher air. Don't, I say this in training all the time, don't should on yourself. I should do this, I should do that. It's not fair to how you are going to get through your day. And coming from like my social work background, coming from a mental health background, something that I think maybe I shared it with Miriam recently, we get down on ourselves for not giving 100%, but if we wake up and we have 20% to give and we give that 20%, that was our 100% for the day. And if we really can honor that the 20% was our 100%, you've done a successful day, and tomorrow is another day. That's so hopefully that helps a little bit. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of sense of hope. We've included, and this is a resource that Miriam has at the library, and it's a resource I can send to you, but we've included sort of common interview questions. Sometimes people just don't know how to answer these questions, right? So, and interviews are nerve-wracking. You have to talk about yourself. You have to be the best version of yourself, the happiest, smartest, bestest version. And that is really hard for most people to get into that mindset. So, especially when the first question out of the gate is, can you tell me more about yourself? So then you have to not just be the happiest, brightest, bestest, but you also then have to say it. And that seems to be even harder. So focus on what your qualifications are. It could sound like early in my work history, I discovered I'm really good at networking and connecting people to resources. So throughout my career, I have sought a job that helps me do that. So thinking just about where you've been, where you are, and where you'd like to go, right? That's your cover letter. That is your professional statement. That's your elevator pitch. That's sort of what the "can you tell me about yourself" question is. Why are you interested in this role? So the company is really, you can share some specifics about the company. So do your research, Google them, find out what you can. What that can sound like is, I like that this role is hybrid. It supports my work-life balance or my family needs. I appreciate that you offer family leave. Or I'm excited to work in this part of the town or the city and get to be a part of this community doing this work. So make sure that you're always connecting it back either to the role or to the company, but also about your why. So what sparked joy when you looked at it? The other question, so what motivates you on a daily basis? That can sound kind of difficult to answer, but it's really making sure it's allowing the employer to know like what your intrinsic motivations are. So that can be, if your motivation is about a specific salary range that you need to support, that, like, money will not get you everywhere in that story, right? You really want to be motivated to do the work that you're doing. So I take pride in doing good work well. It's important to me that the type of work that I'm doing benefits my community. It's also important to me that I'm earning enough money to support myself or my family. So thinking about that as what's motivating you and that bigger picture, not I need a job today, because frankly, we live in the most capitalist society. We all need a job today, maybe two. So thinking outside of that need for what is motivating. Some more. So describe your ideal work environment. You want to kind of take this one and reframe like whatever their cultural cues, because companies, as you know, talk a good game about what their culture is, about what their community responsibility is. But think about what they're selling you and how you want to pitch yourself to that. So it can sound like, I work best in a quiet space, but I don't want to be completely isolated from others. Or I enjoy being on the move and engaging with many different people throughout the day. So thinking about if those sentences work with their culture, it's probably a good match. If their culture says fast-paced environment or competing priorities, that is a place that is on the move. So just learning how to decode what job descriptions say, what websites are spitting at you really intensely. Again, that is stuff we can help you walk through. Something that's big for our clients, can you talk me through a career gap, or the reasons that you left the workforce and how you feel it's affected you professionally? You don't owe anyone your deep explanations. If you were drunk under a bridge for 6 years, you don't have to tell them that. It's fine. That is a real experience. That is a real quote from a client. What it can sound like is, I left my last job because I was burnt out and I felt like I needed to reevaluate my career trajectory. Then say, I did this by allowing my body to rest, by connecting with a temp agency or starting a training program or taking a college course. I reevaluated my priorities about where I wanted to be, and that took time. It could be I had the opportunity to step away from work and focus on my family needs or my mental health, and I'm ready to get back into the workforce, and I look forward to this being my first place to land. So we have a tendency to want to give too much information to people, or as my mom calls it, too much which I love. So just be really mindful that you don't owe those people anything. You give as much as you have to give to help answer the question and give them a little bit of context. And later, if they hire you and you work with that person again, you can choose to divulge more. But just be really mindful about protecting your peace. Another one, again, because we work with a lot of veterans and we work with people who are receiving benefits, that they could be transitioning skills. They could be, again, having no work experience. So skills from your previous industry that you feel translate is a great question. So that can sound like, as a machinist in the military, I have a keen eye for detail. I'm really good at prioritizing tasks, and I'm comfortable being on my feet for long hours. So that sounds like you're going to be an amazing security guard. That sounds like you would be an amazing factory worker. That sounds like you would be a really good quality control person. So those are 3 different fields that you can enter in just from that one sentence. Another one, or as a parent, I can juggle a lot. I am only a dog mom, but I know that all of my friends who parent juggle a lot and a lot of competing priorities, that they are great at assessing a situation for danger and very calm under pressure. I have worked in an elementary school in the east side of San Jose. It's just a lot. You just head on a swivel, you can manage it all. So just thinking about how much you do in your daily life is living and transferable skills. And a question that they will always ask is, what questions do you have for me? Especially, it's hard if it's a phone screening, you might run out of time. But if you get to that question, that's another place where you want to Google them a little bit. You want to know a little bit. But now is the most important time to make sure that you absolutely know the answer to what the salary is, what the schedule is, what the benefits are, what the commute is going to be like for you. Those are the 4 things that you need to feel really good about to continue that conversation. If that is not a match, if one of those is not, they're all really deal breakers, but if one of those is really broken, it's a waste of your time to pursue the position, and it's a waste of the recruiter's time to keep talking. So if you don't have those answered, stop there, make sure that those are answered. And if you do have those answered, you then get a chance to get into culture. I see you've been with this company for 8 years. What do you like about working for? Or what's the best part of your daily work? Or does the company provide professional development or promotional opportunities? Like, get into a little bit more around the culture, around how do you see a future there? So those are my pro tips on that. Any questions in that space? So how do we answer these questions? How do we approach it? That is the next big question. So the STAR method has been around a long time. It's a kind of universally used tool for helping people be concise, helping people really lay out the data points for answering questions. It's typically used for behavioral questions. So behavioral questions are, tell me about a time when, what do you do when, have you ever, give me an example of. So it is allowing the interviewer to get a sense of your decision-making process. That's really specifically what it's about. So tell me about a time you had to complete a project or an assignment, but you were only responsible for part of it, or a time when you were responsible for start to finish. We have all been, most of us probably, in some situation. Jenny, I'm looking at you, like when we're in a group project and there's 4 people and one of them is just existing and we have to show up, right, and pick up their pieces. So talk about that situation. Here's the situation where there were 4 of us involved and 3 of us were really on our game and one person disappeared into the ether, but our grade was shared equally. It sucked. So here's the situation. The task was, we all wanted a good grade, regardless of the fact that person number 4 was not participating. The action we took was persons 1, 2, and 3 got together and said, okay, how do we want to divide person number 4's work? The result was all 4 of us presented and we got an A because we rocked it, even though only 3 of us did 4 people's work. So that's quickly how you walk through what that can be. Sometimes people ask you, like, tell me how you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What is the situation? What is the task? What is the action? What are the results? What do you do when you receive feedback that feels critical or is perceived as negative? Have you ever made a horrible mistake? Give me an example. Let's say, describe a situation where you were given an assignment and you were not sure where to begin. That's a really common one in work. They want to know, are you a self-starter? Can you work by yourself? Will you speak up and ask questions? Will you use your resources? Will you panic? Will you cry in the bathroom? Like, don't tell them that, but those are things that can happen. So they really just want to know, are you going to be an independent worker? Do you need micromanaging, hand-holding? That can go really well, where they can say, oh, we're going to train you in that, don't worry about it. Or we have resources for you to do that, or you have person X to rely on for that. So it's just a helpful space. So again, Miriam has this resource, but it's really good to practice your own answers to these questions. And it feels like homework and it feels a little bit silly sometimes, but it's actually a genuinely good tool to just get interview ready, because the nerves, you guys. 3 minutes left. Ask us anything about work. This is our contact information. So again, I'm Katie Clancy. I'm the director of our office. Celeste Huang is our Ticket to Work representative. Here she is. Crystal Glover and Harleen Mongat are my two veteran program representatives, so my case manager and my program manager. Our office is in San Francisco. We are about 4 blocks from the Powell Street BART station, but Celeste can serve clients throughout the country, and our veterans program, we can work with anyone in the Bay Area. We identify as being BART accessible, so if you can get to BART, you get to us. So that is all of our information. That is all of our time. We really appreciate you. I'll leave that slide up. Miriam, are there any questions? There's 42 comments in the chat. I'd love to see that. I really want to open them, but I'm sharing my screen and I can't.
Celeste has been responding to everything that's coming through in the
Amazing.
chat. Thank you so much for sharing all of this great information about America Works and your programs and services, but also just more generally, the interview and the resume prep suggestions are so great. I do have some handouts that Katie had sent, and I will email those out to everybody along with the slides and a recording of this presentation to all the registrants for the session. Yeah. Thank you so much, Celeste and Katie. Really appreciate all of your contributions, and thanks everybody for attending. Appreciate you all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.